y'all? Welcome to Culture. I am your host, Jules Jessie from Converge Media, alongside my co-host, Mike Davis of the South Seattle Emerald. What is up, Mike Davis?
Hey, what's up, Julie? How you doing tonight?
I'm good. Okay, fresh braids.
You know. Ooh,
You
almost
know.
knocked my table over.
Oh, okay. Well, don't do that. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the show. Another Thursday night episode of Clapback Culture. We're so glad that you could pull up and chill with us every single Thursday night, you guys. You're super loyal. Continue to donate to Converge, you guys. We never really say this enough, but keep us on air. Converge Media, where Black media matters. So look, we have a lot on the menu, you guys. Cuddy is out, but we have Salman in the background directing our show tonight. Thank you, Salman. And I mean, listen, we might as well jump into some of these hot topics. How you feeling?
I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
All right, y'all. Don't take our head off with this one because I'm sure there is some opinions about this, but there's a NCAA swimmer that's clapping back about a rule change after missing out on the finals to Lia Thomas. You guys, Lia Thomas is a transgender woman who competed in a swim race at Virginia Tech, and I'm sorry, excuse me, she competed in a swim race and she won the championship, you guys. Like, she took over. And there's some criticism, there's some clapback coming. So a Virginia Tech woman, another swimmer, went to her personal Instagram to provide some criticism, saying that the league essentially should not allow transgender women to compete against biologically born women. Thomas is facing a lot of backlash to the point where, Penn State has posted her on their social media, but has closed down the Instagram account for comments. So there's a lot of people feeling some type of way about this. The NCAA made the new regulations about transgender athletes earlier in the season and essentially left eligibility up to individual sports. So it's here to say, how are you feeling about this, Mike? Well, hold on. Let me just introduce this to our audience. Someone, if you could just put that overlay up really quick. Let's throw that overlay up one more time. When Lia Thomas was competing as a male, she ranked 462 against male swimmers. But now she's ranking number one and when she's competing against female athletes. So that is why there's a lot of controversy. Caitlyn Jenner, who you all know, who won the Olympic gold medal while she was male, while she identified as male, said that the world has gone mad and added that her cardiovascular system is bigger, her heart is bigger, and she's got longer arms and legs. So Caitlyn Jenner is also feeling like transgender females should not be able to compete with biologically born women athletes. Mike, loaded topic. How you clapping back this?
I'm not clapping. I'm not clapping either way. I just think because I think it's a interesting discussion to have, and I think that it's a microcosm of what we see in society. I think that this points us at the larger conversation of how every part of our lives end up politicized, and in that process it ends up polarized, and what we see is just people taking sides and people hunkering down on their sides instead of allowing people to have nuanced conversation. I think the important thing in this topic is that, as you mentioned, you have biologically born female swimmers that are trying to speak up and trying to use their voices. And this particular woman from Virginia Tech that you mentioned, I mean, she mentioned how, Lia Thomas gets up at 5 a.m. every morning to train. Lia Thomas is hitting the weight room every day, hitting the pool every day. Lia Thomas is going to class every day. And so she was really careful not to make this a personal attack on Lia Thomas. Instead, her smoke was for the NCAA and the rules that allowed this to persist. And I believe that her stance was a stance of what Lia Thomas is doing right now is totally within the rules. So her beef is the NCAA. Let's look at these rules. Let's find a way to make it fair. And I think that that's the fair point. And I think that that is the area in which I would like to see the conversation go. I feel like too often we have the left and the right pick sides and they're not talking, or we have this new phenomenon, and largely due to social media, where, like, if you have Democrats that are on opposing sides of the same issue, then Republicans can attack them and say that they're weak and say that there's factions because, before social media, these are conversations that your party would have behind closed doors, come to a consensus, and then bring it to the public. But now you can't have those conversations because all of our conversations are all wide open and it's like everybody can peek in. So now we're not having any more nuance. We're having people who feel like they have to ride for their side instead of having conversations. And I think that this is a conversation to have. You already know, man, I'm Mike Davis, the black man, and I'm always going to look at the racial components. And I remember talking about Caster Semenya on this show, who is an African sprinter, biologically born a woman, had a condition that raised her testosterone levels. And we watched track and field move against her so that she couldn't compete. So when I see this white trans woman getting this support, getting to compete, man, the first thing I honestly see is the racial component. But really, I think that we're just in a place where we actually have to look at the rules and we actually have to look at women's athletics. And I think that we have to come to the realization that there is a reason why women's sports are separate than men's sports. And when you look at some of the highest level of competition in men's sports, there actually aren't rules that say that women can't compete. It is the best athlete. There's no written rule that says that a woman can't be in the NFL, just like there's no written rule that says a woman can't play NCAA football. As a matter of fact, we've seen in the last few years where women have actually played college football at the Division I level. We've seen a woman who was a kicker, for example, and she got in a game. So we have these sports because of some of the reasons that you listed. I think Caitlyn Jenner is a terrible source because Caitlyn Jenner has become a right-wing zealot, but some of those facts do remain.
So odd.
It's so odd that Caitlyn would take that stance, but I just think that, when you look at these sports, especially sports that live and die by a timer, and you look at the times of men historically and women historically, on average, men tend to have faster times, and that's why it's split. So I think there is something to what these biologically female-born women are saying, and I think we need to listen to them. And I think that, yes, we have to stick up for the trans community. Yes, we know that being trans literally puts your life in danger. Like, all of those things are true. I refuse to believe the Joanna Man theory. I refuse to believe that anyone would be trans just for a sport, especially swimming. Because look, man, it's not like we're talking about a sport that's going to earn people millions and millions of dollars. Like, there is a swimmer or two that is out here becoming millionaires. By and large, people are swimming because they enjoy the sport. So I refuse to believe that anybody is going to become transgender to be the top swimmer in the world. I think that, this is just a person who ended up being trans who happens to swim. I will also point out that, I was searching high and low for articles on statistics on how many NCAA athletes are transgender, and the only credible source that I could find listed 33 known transgender athletes in Division I sports in the last 30 years. And there are over 100,000 Division I athletes right now. So, like, we're talking about less than 1% of athletes in competition as well. So I just think that there's a lot of nuance to this conversation, and we have to allow ourselves room to talk and not just pick a side and stand there without having a robust conversation.
Yeah, I agree that a conversation definitely needs to be had. I think one fact to insert into the conversation is that Lia Thomas, she also was on hormone therapy for a year prior to being accepted into the NCAA's female sporting arena. So it wasn't, so she is on hormone therapy to lower her testosterone. But again, I mean, if this were a biologically born female, and I believe Lia Thomas is standing at like 6'7", like she's a big girl and she's towering over a lot of the women that she's competing with. Do I can't say that I discredit Caitlyn Jenner, because I feel like if anyone's a great source, it would be Caitlyn Jenner in identifying that, number one, she is one hell of an American athlete, right? And we know her to have used her athleticism all across the board, and take home Olympic gold medals in one of the hardest Olympic competitions that there are. So I believe there is some merit to her adding into the conversation, but you're right. I mean, she has been super politicized because she's right winged and she's a one percenter and she's just totally the exception to the rule. Lia Thomas is well within the guidelines. And at the end of the day, if it's policy and she's allowed to compete, then that just is what it is. And so I think that the Virginia Tech swimmer was right in coming at the machine and not coming at the individual. But I can't imagine how difficult it is to be in Lia Thomas's shoes. She just really has been making mention that she is doing this, in stride for all transgender athletes, and that she wants people, she's 22 years old. She's so young. And this is a lot. I mean, I think my only criticism is that when she was competing as a biologically born male, she just was not crushing it. And now she's ranking at number 1. So it is a question of, are men faster, stronger, better in terms of athletes when compared to women in particular sports? And does that change the balance? And so it's a question that I'm not able to answer, and one that I kind of don't want to inject myself into because it is so political.
But the point that you're making, I think, is kind of where I stand too, and where I see both sides being disingenuous. I can't remember the person's name, but it was someone on the left, and when they were speaking on sports and whether they should be split on gender, and then they start naming sports where women outperform men, and they were talking about the number one sport that they leaned on was skeet shooting, and it's just like, I mean, like, that's literally pointing a gun and pulling a trigger. Like that's not necessarily athletic ability, and I think that's where I kind of draw the lines. Like, I would never sit here and say that men are smarter than women. I'm not saying that men have more cognitive ability than women. But if we're saying, are men bigger than women on average? Yes, they are. Are men stronger on average? Yes, they are. Are there exceptions to these rules? Yes. But if we erase gender from sports, then you create a world where only the most exceptional women will be able to participate. And I just don't think that that's where we should go.
Are the most exceptionally different biologically born, right? But again, I don't know. We'll move on from this topic. You guys weigh in the comments. Let us know what you think. We definitely want to hear some feedback from you guys on this, because it's definitely something that is coming into sports. Moving forward, we're going to talk right now, Mike, about Instagram introducing some new features. Instagram has spoken, you guys, in that chit chat of us saying that we want to get our Instagram feeds a little bit more tightened up. They have listened. So the platform is taking notes, and they are implementing something that actually kicked in on Wednesday, and introduced 2 new ways to catch up on your feed. So you can now organize your feed by following or adding favorites. So with the following, it's really like you can select people that you want to follow, and they will come up on your timeline first. And then for favorites, it's kind of like your close friends. You can add people into your favorites, so you can just click in and kind of organize your feed that way. I love this because there are oftentimes people that I want to check out their content on a daily basis, or, when I do decide to jump on social media, and I want to be able to see them on my feed and on my timeline first. So shout out to Instagram for finally listening to its users and adding some features that we can use.
That means that all y'all need to go ahead and add that clapback culture Instagram in your favorites ASAP to make sure y'all's keeping up with all the content.
Oh, you know, one thing I do like too. If you guys remember on MySpace, remember there was that top 8.
Now you're speaking my
Remember
language.
top 8? Okay, so but remember, if you were in someone's top 8 and they removed you, you would see that you are no longer in their top 8. So Instagram is very clever in that you can add somebody into your favorites. You can have 50 people be in your favorites, but it will not tell the person if you take them out of your favorite.
That's clutch.
That's clutch. Instagram, so you guys can kindly uncheck them if you don't want them. So that's dope. I love that, and it's just an easy way to play with the algorithm, especially because social media is being used as such a marketing tool right now. But it is what it is. I actually have taken a social media break, Mike. I had to like fall back a little bit. It was just giving too much.
Yeah, it can be a lot. It can be a lot.
It can be a lot. All right, you guys, we're going to move on to this topic. I was talking to my nieces about this today. And so this is just absolutely crazy. And it speaks to why, please be careful what you post on social media. There is a woman accused of killing 2 Pennsylvania state troopers and a third man in a crash on I-95. She was pulled over for speeding just minutes before the crash. You guys are not going to believe this. This is a 21-year-old girl. She gets pulled over for speeding, doing 110 in a 50. The state troopers that are pictured right here are the individuals that pulled her over, and they got a priority call that said that there was a pedestrian walking on the freeway. They took her license, they took her registration, they let her go with a warning. Minutes later, you guys, she plummeted into them, killing both of the state troopers and the pedestrian. And do you know that not the week before, there was a tweet on her account sent at 12:47 a.m. on that Monday, just before the crash, and she tweeted that she was the best drunk driver ever. Girl, how stupid can you be? You were drunk driving, you got pulled over, you got let go. You sat and tweeted about it, and then you killed 3 people before you could even pull off.
Yeah, she's not seeing the light of day.
No time.
That was man. When I seen that story, that was crazy.
They're putting her under the jail.
All 3 of them, and she killed 2 cops. Bragging, yeah. Y'all, who does that, man? Social media is too toxic for some of y'all, because I mean, that is enough. She did what she did, but like that tweet, she's cooked.
Bye, girl. Like, bye. My nieces were like, what? There's just no way. I mean,
it's crazy too. She looked so sad. And when she was in those handcuffs, you see that video? Oh my goodness. She looked like she knew her life was over.
Oh, it was just disgusting and devastating.
It was so hard to watch.
21 years old. And the state troopers were really young. They were in their 30s. So we're talking about a lot of young people. Life is gone. I don't have any main details on the pedestrian, but can you imagine being the state trooper who pulled her over to respond to another call? It's like they pulled her over knowing, like, actually you're doing 110 and a 50. Like, come on, sis. You guys, listen, if you're out drinking and driving, there's Uber, there's Lyft, there's a call from home, there's a drink while you're at home. Driving buzz is driving drunk, and we are just seeing too many people getting in accidents, killing someone, killing themselves for thinking that thinking that they're good enough to drive home.
Yeah, especially at her age. Like you're 21, man. Uber, Lyft, like this been here. This ain't new to you.
Like, this is all you know.
Yes, all of your kicking it years, these things have been available. It makes no sense to not utilize them.
Listen, if you're out drinking and you're going to get blasted, at the end of the day, put put together a little $60 pot of some money that you're going to use to get home. So if you can't Uber back and forth where you're going to go, then you can't afford to go and hang out. It's just that simple. I mean, I understand inflation and everything is at an all-time high, but this 21-year-old girl just killed 3 people. She's not going to see
her own life in the process.
Yeah, I'm sure she's going to get like 25 years. We're going to keep up on this. Pennsylvania, I believe, is a Commonwealth state as well. So I just don't see it looking good for her, brother.
No, there's no way.
Let's go ahead and move forward onto another. We have a video. Mike, we're going to skip through a little bit, you guys. We're having a bit of technical difficulties with our videos today. So, Mike, we're going to skip to this Brittany Griner, you guys. We got some updates on her situation. Let's play the video and we'll come back and talk about it.
Breaking news now. Russian authorities have extended the detention of WNBA star Brittany Griner for at least 2 more months. Earlier this morning, a Russian news agency said local courts ordered her held until May 19th. Griner was arrested last month after customs officials claimed they found hash oil in her luggage at the Moscow airport. In Russia, that crime carries a prison sentence of up to 10 years. A human rights group recently visited Griner at the detention facility. She's sharing a cell with 2 others. She did not complain about the conditions.
Well, I mean, how can you complain about the conditions? I think, one, you're in jail, but one of the reports stated that she gets to go to a sauna once a week. I don't know if the conditions in Russia for the jail are that bad. I think people are just so fascinated by this case, and rightfully so, because Griner is a celebrity. But you guys, what the court is saying, the court in Moscow is saying that they extended her detention until May 19th. And that basically is happening because the court granted a request of the investigation and extended the period of detention. So it sounds like that her legal team is requesting to be able to have more time to do the investigation, or maybe even on the prosecution. So it sounds like they're trying to get their ducks in a row. I don't see this as a bad thing. She is facing 10 years on drug-related charges for having allegedly cartridges of hashish oil in her bag when she was on her way into Russia. There are advocates and lawmakers that are looking into this case because we know that she could potentially be used as a pawn during Russia's war with Ukraine, and we don't want that. And so we haven't heard much feedback from her wife or her family because they are trying not to allow this case to get too much attention, because if it gets too much attention, then it's very likely that the Russians can use this as a tool to politicize the situation.
Yeah, this is actually kind of getting scary. At first, it was kind of like, okay, we're gonna see. Now it just feels a little more worrisome. I think that in Russia, due process is a very interesting concept because we view due process through a very American lens. It doesn't really work like that in other countries. You know what I mean? Like their courts, I mean, I don't even want to call them more corrupt. I mean, it's the United States, man. The United States has the largest prison population on the planet by far. There are more black men in prison in America than people in prison in the world. So like, I don't want to act like, like we're perfect, but what I've read from like a lot of the ESPN reports is that a lot of those oligarchs in Russia have a lot of sway with the courts. So, when Brittany Griner was coming back and forth playing basketball at first, she could travel with weed in her bag because the owner of her basketball team is a Russian billionaire and the courts wouldn't cross him. And if they could, he would pad the right pockets and she'd be on her way before she ever seen handcuffs. The problem with that is, number one, the U.S. is freezing assets of all of these Russian cats left and right. We're throwing sanctions on their country. We're trying to put the clamps on their bank. So like all of the internal systems of bribery that really could have allowed her to sway people, all of that is getting shut down by us. So it's a super, super complicated situation. a lot of it happens in the whispers. And it's funny too, because when we talked about the other story, someone put in the chat, well, why don't they pay women as much, or why don't the sports pay equal? And, that's a really loaded conversation, and I don't want to go there. But in Russia, those billionaires really, really care about their basketball team. It's super exotic. They want the best players in the world. They bring women from America, from China, from wherever the best women players are. These billionaires is bringing them in, paying them obscene amounts of money, and they don't care whether their basketball teams make money or lose money. Whereas, again, in our American construct of sports ownership in America builds wealth. They're making money. Whereas in other countries like Russia, for example, they use their sports to spend money. We even see this in like Saudi Arabia right now. Like a lot of these Saudi Arabians are trying to use sports teams to clean up their image after a lot of terrible things that they've done. So, Leon, you're absolutely right. This was the worst week.
The wrong week.
The wrong week to try to cross that airport with that. And it's crazy. She had a couple cartridges and they got her on drug trafficking. And it sounds ridiculous to us as Americans, but in that Russian court system, they might actually be able to put the clamps on her. So prayers to Brittany Griner, because wrong place, wrong time. And it's just horrible, man. She's in a Russian prison and she's like 6 feet, man. That can't be comfortable. It's yikes.
Yeah, she's 6'7" or 6'9", and her legs is off the bed.
Yeah, man. Russians ain't big like that. That prison ain't built for nobody like that.
Listen, prison ain't built for nobody. Let's just say that. But another athlete that we need to jump in and talk about is your boy, Deshaun Watson. You guys signing the biggest guaranteed contract for $230 million. Yo, this is crazy. So the Cleveland Browns acquired the quarterback in a trade with the Houston Texans. They not only are guaranteeing him the $230 million contract, but they traded for first round picks in 2022, 23, 24, as well as a 2023 third round pick and a 2024 fourth round pick. They wanted him. I'm telling you, athleticism, if you have this type of talent, they are going to throw the bag at you. This is a 5-year deal for $230 million that is fully guaranteed. He is eating good. Very good.
I don't know how to feel about this. I mean, on one hand, okay, black man, but on the other hand, yo, man, he got 22 allegations of sexual assault. And look, man,
but wait, before you go into your diatribe, let's give the people the facts. A grand jury acquitted him. He has civil cases coming against him for the 22 lawsuits, but a grand jury did not indict him. So technically, he ain't got no charges. Now, does he have pending lawsuits and civil litigation? Absolutely. But it sounds like he got the money to pay for it. So go ahead, Mike Davis.
Look, I'm not speaking to his innocence or to his guilt. I mean, look, like you said, it's no longer criminal. It's civil. I just find it interesting that the Browns did this and the timing of it. As soon the minute that it came out that he wasn't facing criminal charges, it was like almost every team in the league was at least trying to see what was up. The Seahawks name got kicked up, man. So many teams' names got kicked around. And what happened is that because that happened, he ended up with all of this leverage where he was interviewing teams like, what are you going to do for me? Which made it so that teams couldn't even really dig in. I mean, like there's reports that like, yo, the Browns didn't talk to any of the women. They didn't talk to the lawyer or none of that. Like they talked to him, took him at his word. The craziest part to me about his contract, though, is that, it seems like the NFL will still suspend him because misconduct is detrimental to the league. You can't be a bad image on the league. The Browns offer him $230 million, but his base salary for next season is only $1 million. So if he gets suspended, his suspension is only based off the $1 million for next year. So he would technically still have 229 million coming his way. That's wild. So
that's so much love that they
so
added the deal like that they said, listen, we're going to give you, we know you have this pending suspension coming up, but let me tell you, black man, we're just going to give you this $1 million salary for 2022. We're almost out of 2022. So if it doesn't happen within the next like 7-8 months, don't worry about it. Listen, bye. I don't care about that funky little 1 million. I'm not tripping. This is, I mean, at the end of the day, when you are not indicted, you're just not indicted. Now, does he have to face the allegations? I couldn't figure out how egregious they were, but for those of you guys who don't know, he has 22 civil cases against him that are remaining active. The allegations are sexual assault and inappropriate conduct during massage sessions.
Can I talk to hey, put this comment from Harry Jefferson up, please? Can we get that, Salman? Because listen, man, I understand, bro. I understand what you're saying, but this has to be said. Deshaun Watson was finding massage therapists on Instagram. Let me repeat that. NFL quarterback Deshaun Watson needed to find massage therapists on Instagram. That's a red flag. I don't care who you are, man. Like, first of all, your team has massage therapists on staff. That's number one. Number two,
I don't want that though.
Like, okay, but I'm just saying though, like, bro, why are you not getting a sports massage? Like, why are you getting massages from these outlet? Man, look, y'all should do some research. Go look at the profiles of some of these quote unquote massage therapists that he went to, man. This is questionable, man. This is very, very questionable.
There's nothing to question though. Honestly, like when you
go, question.
Listen, in the eyes of the law, there is nothing questionable about this.
Hey, look, he's off on the law. That's cool. Like, I'm not fine. That's fine and dandy, man. Look, the law puts the clamps on black men so much that if somebody slides, then somebody slides. But what I'm saying is, you're not gonna be an NFL quarterback finding massage therapists on Instagram and think that nobody is able to question that. Like, why? Your body, you have a $230 million body. Why are you trusting it to random chicks on Instagram? Why wouldn't you be going to the top of the line? Like, get out of here, man. I'm not hearing that. I mean, man.
Okay, like, you know why, right? Like, he's choosing these. Well, listen, yeah. I'm not gonna get into what his preference is, right? But people have their preferences and they choose to engage with their preferences however they see fit. Now, I think you do have a valid point that when you are in a position of success, when you have a $230 million contract that's fully guaranteed, it's giving, I need you to be more protective of your brand so that you don't fumble the bag. Like, take care of yourself, take care of your brand, take care of your reputation. If that's your preference, then by all means, be careful with your preference. But at the end of the day, some people just like sneaky kind of sex, sneaky kind of like interactions like that. Maybe that's his zhuzh. Maybe that's his thing. I don't have no qualms about that. I don't have no opinion about it. But at the end of the day, in the eyes of the law, they had 22 allegations and they sat in front of a grand jury, and the prosecutors could not make a case. So people sat in a room, they listened to the argument, they heard witness testimony, and it was not enough to have those charges stick. So now, can they take it civil? He has enough money to settle out of court. I mean, at the end of the day, it seems like a lot of women, get your bag, sis.
You got plenty of money.
Get your bag, sis. You know what I'm saying? You know, it is what it is. I'm not approving the sexual misconduct by any means, But I'm saying, do you want to see him under the jail, or would you like to see 50, 60, 70, $100,000 in your bank account? What's going to make you feel better? We'll leave it there. We will leave it there. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, I want to talk about Mike Tyson, you guys, another athlete who hugged a gunman at a comedy show. We'll come back
tonight. A lot of sports tonight. I'm loving that.
Yes. We'll be right back.
Everybody now, everybody do your thing.
I'm always here in my studio working from Monday to Saturday.
So art is full time for you.
Full time is full time.
Sweet Parisian girl. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, sweet Parisian girl. Oh, come on.
When the pandemic hit, it did affect me. As a barber, I had my own personal reasons why I didn't get vaccinated. At the time, I didn't check the actual source. I thought the vaccine was developed too fast, but I was talking to a doctor and he was telling me more about the vaccine and what it can do to protect us and our family. I wanted to get back to that once was, right? I do feel safe knowing that I am vaccinated. I just hope what I'm saying is reaching into people's heads to know that this is the best decision for all of us.
Oh, we're back.
That was quick.
Super quick. I was looking at the comment from Carolyn. If we can put that up before we change gears. I agree that predators do groom their allies like they groom their prey. He's not going to do it to women. He's not going to do it to women who other people will vouch for. That's how they work. I think that's important to note, that in these situations, oftentimes, the person who is kind of implementing the sexual misconduct is grooming that person. And so it may not be the first time that he gets this, like, massage therapy, whatever, because we don't know what was going on in the rooms, but there is a certain level of grooming that happens for him to be able, or for them to be able to prey on their alleged victim.
Look, man, hey, I get monthly massages, and I promise y'all, I ain't never not once found my masseuse on no damn Instagram. Like, that's weird. I'm just not hearing it, man. Like,
I find everything on Instagram. Like, there's so much business. I just found such a great photographer on Instagram. Literally just now, she started following me, and I was like, wow, I went to her page and I looked at it. I'm
not hearing that this man who plays for a team that literally has massage therapists on staff. If he wanted a massage, he doesn't even have to leave the practice facility to get a massage. He could also call somebody to his house to get a massage. He purposely went to Instagram, found these masseuses that allow people to come into their homes. And I would encourage y'all to read the stories. The women have made their stories public of what their allegations are, man. Look, man, I stand up for Black men all the time. I've stood up for Black men who were guilty and literally did it and said it because they was Black. This is weird. This is weird. This is weird. If I think it's weird, I'm gonna say it's weird.
You can't punish somebody for being weird and
he's not being punished. He got the opposite of a punishment. The literal opposite of he was in a contract that he didn't want to be in. He got out of his contract, got $230 guaranteed $1 million. He's not being punished. He has no accountability to anything that happened. And if 22 women call you a creep, you're a creep. I'm around women all day, every day. I ain't never been called a creep.
But you can't say he's a creep. He was not charged.
Just because he wasn't charged doesn't mean that he's
It means
innocent.
Everything. We cannot live in a world where every time, like, we can't say that somebody is guilty for something and they go to a grand jury and the charges do not stick. At the end of the day, and when that's done, that's it. That's it.
You can say that he's not criminally liable in the court of law, but that doesn't mean that he didn't do anything wrong. That's ridiculous. So you're telling me that every time we talk about police, so when we talk about police on here that kill Black people, they're good. You're telling me that the cop that shot Breonna Taylor and he's not being charged in court, so then he's good. He didn't do anything wrong. That's what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is in the eyes of the law,
Okay,
there's nothing else to do.
So in the
here's
eyes of the law, Breonna Taylor should be dead right now. She deserved it
but
because in
you
the eyes of the
cannot
law.
penalize. Well, then there's an issue with the justice system, right?
Of course, there's an issue with the justice
what
system.
I'm saying is you can't have it both ways. Like, we can't apply punitive damages to somebody who is not criminally liable.
He has no punitive damages. Just because he doesn't have punitive damages doesn't mean that I got to sit here and cape for him. He's not going to jail. He got $230 million, but he's still a creepy dude. And I would never I wouldn't let no women in my life be alone with this dude. Period.
Well, I mean, that's perspective, right? Like, that's something that you do moving forward because you understand like that this guy has some type of sexual fetish and whatever. Clearly, he has some type of different sexual appetite, if you will. But what I'm saying is, I don't think we're able to have it both ways. We cannot condemn somebody. We can't even look at the NFL to look at punishing him for something that he was not criminally charged for, whether we believe something happened or not.
I understand that, Julia, but the NFL does that all the time. The NFL suspended Ezekiel Elliott for 6 games when he didn't get charged for a crime. Ben Roethlisberger, who everybody says did what he did because he lost his civil case, he wasn't charged with a crime. The NFL still suspended him for 6 games. So the NFL does punish people.
Will, I guarantee you, like we said before, the NFL will suspend him for the allegations, but you can't tell them that they're wrong for giving him a $230 million contract on the back end.
I just find it interesting that he got the contract. I find it interesting that Colin Kaepernick gets blackballed and he gets to play. I don't necessarily think it's wrong.
Colin Kaepernick is a threat to the machine.
True.
Deshaun Watson is not a threat to the machine.
It's a threat to women, but that's cool. It's all good. You can be that. You can be a threat to women and exist in our society. It's fine.
So long as you win games.
Very true. And that boy can play. Seahawks should have took him.
Oh, Lord. See, all right. Listen, you guys, a man pulled out a gun in a comedy show in Hollywood, California. Wow. Mike Tyson was in the room. It was like a major fan. Looked like he had too much to drink. We have a video. We're going to talk about it when we come back.
Get up out of here. I'm not playing with you. Get up out of here, bro. Come on. Hey, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I'm joking. You're not joking. I am joking right now. Get up out of here. Hey, come on, fam. Come on, man. Look, this is easy. I'm joking, bro. Mike, I'm out of here. Hey, I love you, fam. Salute to all your accomplishments, for real. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have no inspiration. I love you, OG, for real. From the heart, for real. Respect. I told you I was just joking, bro. Come here, man. Come here. I'm out of here. I should have pulled that out. They gonna call the police. No. They gonna call the police.
Hey, you good?
Hey, dog. New York! Brownsville. Excuse me. Hey. Shalom. Salute.
This is so black. Honestly, like, this is just like, first of all, I'm watching this tape and I'm looking and I'm like, damn, is that my father back in the day? Like, just off the like doing way too much. The fact that he pulled out his gun and was like, nah, homeboy, and then quickly was like, oh, no, I'm just playing. Y'all, I hate to say this, but like, I watched this interaction and I'm not very shocked by Mike Tyson's reaction at all. I think he actually did the right thing in this situation because this is not like your typical gunman. It's not. The gunman who clearly is a huge fan of Mike Tyson and was kind of starstruck, stopped the comedy show while the performer was performing to compliment and pay homage to Mike Tyson. You obviously can tell he's had too much to drink. The person who he had conflict with is the host, Mike. And the host was like, man, come on, fam. Like, you got to get off the stage. You're doing way too much. And their interaction just wasn't too good. So this is crazy. But Mike Tyson is the real OG.
Mike Tyson is a G. Mike Tyson never flinched. And that's real, though. Mike Tyson called him back and dapped him and gave him a hug. Mike Tyson was chilling. He never felt like he was in danger, man. Yes, man. That's because, man, look, we know our folks, man. Black people, we got a real good intuition, man. We know when there's danger and when there's not. Mike Tyson knew he was straight. That was a fan.
But let me tell you, that host,
he was hot.
He still needed to be careful, because I'm telling you, oh boy, was gonna have it on site.
Well, that's because, see, the host was at work, man. The host is like, come on, man. Like this is on job, homie. You can't be doing this. He was mad. But Mike Tyson was killing.
He was big mad, and he kind of took it to like it shows you how quickly people can get shot and killed in arguments and disputes, right? So it's like I think he approached the situation wrong to begin with. When you're dealing with somebody who's intoxicated, like your first go-to should not be like, let me threaten this person. It really should be like, come on, man, like come outside, like, or, you know, like, let's figure out how we can negotiate you to just go ahead and move on. But because he got so elevated so quickly, you know, people be strapped. You know what I'm saying?
Where's security, man? Why is the host even in that situation, man? They don't got nobody on staff.
Not only did Mike Tyson not flinch, his partner who was sitting next to him didn't flinch. Mike Tyson's security didn't flinch. The Spanish dude in the corner didn't flinch. Like, everybody was just kind of like, oh, all right. The only person who really felt threatened was the host, and a couple people in the aisle was like, woo, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? So I think this is a feel-good story, Mike Davis.
Yeah, man, Mike Tyson's a real one.
He is a real one. And if you heard the guy in one of the other clips, he was like, man, I gotta go, OG. They about to call the police on me. I hope old boy got home safe. Don't drink and drive, guys. Catch them Ubers, you know, and don't bring your gun out if you're gonna be, you know, just off the extra. You know what I'm saying? Don't hurt nobody when you out.
Brandishing in public.
Man, he
was wild, man. What is he doing?
Super. And can you imagine watching that back, and that's like your uncle or something? You're like, damn, OG, like, you were doing way too much.
Way too much.
Last night. Like, way too much. Situation just escalated. But what I can say is I've been there, done that. Like, not me as the gunman, but been in the audience like, whoa, like that got taken to the next level. But the show went on. Mike Tyson continued. And everybody just was like, all right, they chopped it up. But, you know, that's how it go on the West Coast sometimes. California, that's California love. Mike Tyson, you know, he be off the weed tripping. He that's
does, though. Mike
Tyson be chilling. He really be chilling, y'all. All right. We have another clip. Pusha T, he's partnering with Arby's and drops an emotional diss track, I should say. Because back in the day, he did the jingle for McDonald's with "I'm loving it" and
"Shout." A lot of people don't know that.
He did not get paid for it either. Well, he got paid a little chunk of change, but not like his white counterpart, Justin Timberlake. But we got a clip. Let's take a look.
Pusha T may be the first rapper to release a fish sandwich diss track. The rapper just collaborated with popular fast food restaurant Arby's to help promote their new spicy fish sandwich, and he's taking aim at Arby's competitor McDonald's Filet-O-Fish sandwich.
Arby's crispy fish is simply it. With lines round the corner, we might need a guest list. Eggs is stage left, the sandwiches taste fresh. A little cube of fish from a clown is basic.
Pusha and Arby's commercial Spicy Fish Diss premiered on Monday. While it's a playful diss track, it's also personal for Pusha. Back in 2003, Push and his brother Malice collaborated with Mickey D's and reportedly co-wrote the I'm Loving It jingle for the franchise along with Pharrell Williams and Justin Timberlake. Apparently, the company paid Timberlake $6 million to record the song, while the Clips rappers were paid a one-time fee but no royalties for what would become the longest-running marketing campaign in the McDonald's 80 32-year history. I did it at a very young age, at a very young time in my career where I wasn't asking for as much money and ownership. It's something that's always dug at me later in life, he told Rolling Stone. So, are y'all feeling spicy fish diss? I gotta admit,
I'm so hungry right now. Like, I would crush Arby's, like, if it was offered. I don't listen. Get it how you live. I'm not even mad at you, Pusha. Like, Pusha's out here trying to eat. No pun intended. Like, he's really out here trying to eat. Harry, bro, this was the funniest thing this week. Pusha
It really was.
Lyrics. Listen, I would be so like when I heard that he was like a co-author to the McDonald's jingle. I mean, can you imagine? Like, we know the McDonald's jingle, and you
Yes.
just
I didn't know that they didn't pay him. Like, I had heard that he did it, but I didn't know that they did him like he got five. How do you get a one-time fee of $500K? Yo, man, they were doing that. I'm loving it for like a decade. Like, that's crazy.
no
Man, McDonald's
royalties.
is cool. I'm so
But
glad.
honestly, this is what happens when what he said. He was young in his contract.
Yeah,
he had
right.
no idea. So it is what it is. Like,
That's facts.
shout
Hey, listen
out.
to that song though, y'all, man. Shout out to Pusha T. I ain't never even had Arby's, but I considered after hearing his song.
Arby's is not good.
I've never had Arby's. That's what I've heard. I've never heard good things about Arby's, so I've never even tried.
What is going on? Listen, we have one topic. We do not have much time, but we have one topic. We have to touch on the Honorable Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. She was in confirmation hearings all week. They wrapped up yesterday, I believe, with her testifying. We have a clip of Ted Cruz going lethal. It's a 2-minute clip. Let's play the whole thing. We'll come back and talk about it.
Ones that were most stunning. They include a book called Anti-Racist Baby by Ibram Kendi. And there are portions of this book that I find really quite remarkable. One portion of the book says babies are taught to be racist or anti-racist. There is no neutrality. Another portion of the book, they recommend to babies confess when being racist. Now, this is a book that is taught at Georgetown Day School to students in pre-K through second grade, so 4 through 7 years old. Do you agree with this book that is being taught with kids that babies are racist?
Senator, I do not believe that any child should be made to feel as though they are racist or though they are not valued or though they are less than, that they are victims, that they are oppressors. I don't believe in any of that. But what I will say is that when you
Listen, you guys, I love Ketanji Brown Jackson. Like, she is literally Black girl joy. Ted Cruz is so annoying, and honestly, the entire confirmation hearings would be comical if they were not so violently dangerous. And it sucks that we can't even find bipartisanship in these confirmation hearings at all when you have someone who's damn near perfect for the position. You have somebody who is a mother, a wife, who served her country as a
she was a public defender.
Thank you. As a public defender that left being a public defender that left being a private attorney to go back to be a public defender because she wanted to see the other side of the argument. She's served in all single levels of the court. She has done everything you're supposed to do. And like Senator Cory Booker said, she did everything she was supposed to do. And then she did it in heels and did it backwards. She is the GOAT. This is absolutely not a conversation to be had on whether or not she believes in critical race theory or not. Who cares? I mean, there was so many allegations about her being soft on crime because she sentenced people within the guidelines. She's a super mainstream judge in terms of sentencing. The claims that Republicans made during these confirmation hearings are like, it just felt like they were tearing down a national figure who did everything right, and they just didn't have anything they can do. And those raggedy ass charts, Ted Cruz, like who is your staffer? Like, yeah, let me go to Kinko's and print this board out. Like, it's giving way too much. Like, I hated it. I appreciate Senator Cory Booker so much for all of his comments during the actual hearing, because he just took it and was like, matter of fact, let me just uplift this Black woman. Because here's the thing, Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson is so much more than just being a powerful Black woman. Like, she is just so perfect to be a Supreme Court justice because of the work that she has done. It has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that she is a Black woman, but by God, if I can't sit here as a Black woman and look at her and be like, girl, you give me and all the other little Black girls behind me hope that we can be something so much more than our ancestors. So these confirmation hearings, she held her head up high like a champ. She didn't go back and forth. She didn't allow anyone to politicize her comments. She stayed so calm, so neutral, and she didn't allow anybody to pick her apart. But again, I really appreciate Senator Cory Booker for his comments and for his display of conduct. He could not hold back the Black boy magic that he had, and he just poured into her and told her she's worthy and she's highly deserving of this position. And I cannot wait to see her be fully confirmed and inducted in April.
That's perfect. There ain't nothing.
Nothing left said.
Bang.
All right. Well, look, you guys, that's the end of our show. Interesting show tonight, Mike Davis. We talked a lot of sports. So
I love when we get sports topics in here, man. That was fun. I love those.
Listen, we talked about a lot of athletes, which is good. Look, you guys, I'm sorry, let me throw it to you, Mike Davis. When you're not here, where can they find you?
Yes. You can find me at the South Seattle Emerald. Anywhere with the Emerald, I am there. You can also catch me on the morning update show on Wednesdays. And you could also check this show out on Clapback Culture's Instagram.
Yes, perfect. All right, you guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Treasure of JULES. Please, you guys, pull up and also follow our Instagram for Clapback Culture at Clapback Culture. All one word. We need some more Instagram followers, and we're going to do more and do better at really posting some of the clips so that you guys can share them, because we want to get more buzz on the show. We appreciate you guys tuning in every Thursday, right on time. And listen, that was a great show. And until next time, we'll see you next week. Peace.